Jerry's Entourage. As my dad got older, he was pretty heavy maintenance. He didn't do a lot of stuff on his own, and the things that he did on his own, he had a hard time, paying bills, managing money, things like that. So he developed himself an entourage. He had this group of people that waited on him hand and foot. He had a lady, and I don't remember her last name, but her name was Holly. She took care of him, and then there was another guy that helped take care of him, and there was another really good friend of his that he was in the army with. His name was Dick Brown, and he took really good care of my dad. My dad got to the point where the kids were unable to deal with him. He was so he was what do they call it? He wouldn't cooperate. He was so uncooperatable. I guess uncooperatable. He was just so defiant that he was really difficult to deal with. But he really looked up to Dick Brown, and he would do anything that Dick asked him to do. And if Dick told him to do something, he would do it. Or he was more apt to receive that because he always really looked up to Dick. And Dick was a really good friend of Dad's, and he was very nice with Dad and took a great deal of care. A lot of the family members didn't really understand, family and friends didn't really understand my dad. My dad was difficult. It was like riding a bull all of his life. He was like riding a bull at the rodeo all of his life. It was really difficult for my mother, my sisters, my uncles. He was tough to deal with. And then when he got sick and older and more dementia and more like forgetful and more mentally handicapped or fuzzy mentally, he was really defiant to work with and very difficult to handle. We ended up staying away from Dad because every time we went there, it was a fight. It was a verbal fight. He was mad about this. He would always call me and go, "Now where's my guns? Where's my safe?" I says, "Well, you're renting the house out, or you're going to sell the house." We moved them into my shed so that nobody would be they wouldn't be bothered and nobody would steal them or have a problem with them. "Well, I want them back." "Where are you going to put them? At the rest home?" Anyway, he just had a really hard time with that. So he ended up Xing us out of his will, which was about, a total of $20,000, and he gave that to Travis, one of his main grandsons, and he gave a portion of the rest of it to our children. But Dad wasn't right. Dad wasn't right all of his life in many ways, and he wasn't right especially at the end. But I'm positive that he loves us and forgives us, and we love him and forgive him. And I'm positive that in the eternities there will be adjustments made, and we'll be able to understand. I think earth life, mental illness, different things. One of my beliefs is that he got hit so many times in fights and in football that he probably had some post-traumatic brain issues where he told me several times that he had concussions. He got dingy, he got knocked out. He had several times where he had hit. See, in football they only had leather helmets, no face guards, and he would get hit on the head quite often. And in fighting people, he would get dinged quite often. And so he either got knocked out or hit silly in the fights that he got into. But he wasn't right, and he did have an entourage, like I say, of people that took care of him. And I'm really, really, really grateful that there's people that cared about him outside of his family that were able to help him, because it did help a tremendous amount. We weren't trying to be mean to our dad. It was just more humane to stay away from him and let his entourage, Dick Brown, Holly, and the other people that knew him, to take care of him. We wanted deeply to take care of our father. I loved bathing him and showering him and taking care of him and feeding him meals. But it got to the point where he was just so difficult to deal with. We tried to take care of his money. We tried to take care of his assets, but he just wouldn't have it. So we couldn't keep doing that. So anyway, it's a little some of these videos that I tell are quite personal in many ways, but they are for my children, my great-grandchildren, my family members, my friends who know us, to be able to access to know us better and to know our relatives better.